There is a double standard when it comes to how society looks at men who are domestic violence abusers versus women who are domestic violence abusers. And let me tell you why. The proof is in the pictures and the photos. When we hear of a woman who has committed domestic violence, maybe she has pushed somebody, maybe she has thrown something at someone, we do not see sort of the black eyes, the broken bones. But in the women's images that we see when they are victims of domestic violence, we see the black eyes, we see the busted lips, we see the arm in a cast and so forth. Now, does this mean that we should look at women and give them a pass in areas of domestic violence versus men? No, not at all. But we all know a picture is worth a thousand words. And what I think is happening is that when people see women who we know are either domestic violence abusers themselves or engage in domestic violence, we are like, oh, well, she didn't really hurt that person. Oh, she's so much smaller than that person. And we are very quick to dismiss what the damage that this woman is doing, whether it's physical or psychological. So that's one thing. My video was really about having the conversation and talking about, hey, you're manning up and apologizing, Sha'Carri Richardson, and acknowledging that you need help. One of the questions that I have, I did my undergraduate thesis at Hampton University on battered women. I worked in a battered women's shelter because this was an interest of mine. One of the things that I never heard is I never heard any of the women talk about that they had received an apology. I never heard them say, oh, my partner or my husband said that he's going to get help. And so when I see somebody who's been involved in some domestic violence situation and they were in fact the aggressor and they say, I'm going to get help, I realize this is something that I've done wrong and that they want to get help. I want to amplify that. There was a comment on my video where someone said, like, basically acknowledging Sha'Carri's apology basically makes this worse for domestic violence victims and all this other kind of stuff. Not only do I wholeheartedly disagree, but if we cannot have a conversation about what has taken place, getting accountability on the table, acknowledging that, hey, there's a problem, how do we ever get healed so that we can stop having so many domestic violence cases in our community and in society? The answer isn't to stay quiet, not talk about it. That's not the answer. There are many victims who don't go public with their pain, with their trauma, with the fact that they are domestic violence survivors. I want us to be able to normalize having these conversations, ultimately to give a voice to domestic violence survivors and for the abusers to make them want to get help to stop the pain. All right, y'all, that's one to grow on. Thank you so much for your comments on the first video. Peace and see you next time.